Ooh. Welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I'm your host, Liz, and I've got really dirty hair today.
You're also much
I'm joined.
quieter than normal.
Am I?
Yeah, well, you're talking quietly.
I don't feel like I am. Anyways. Uh, Also, this is my co-host, trying to figure out which side.
There we go.
Marcus.
Hello. You're in a different room today.
I am. There happens to be sports on today that I would like to watch.
The World Cup.
Which actually, this falls at a perfect time because the World Cup is not on right now. There's not another game until 2.
Wow. So you could have been in the regular room.
Yeah, but also the last time we did this, it was over an hour, so.
And we've got a fun little activity planned, so it might be that long. What we got going on today? We obviously regular weekly recap. We've got everything from Tag League, Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown, no Impact recap. Neither of us watched Impact because it was Thanksgiving. We wanted.
There was no Impact.
There was no Impact.
Yeah, it was just a recap of like different Thanksgiving specials that they've done. I tried to watch
Okay.
Impact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good thing we didn't try to watch it, or you tried to watch it, but good thing I didn't try to watch it. So I it was really funny. I didn't watch. Neither of us watched Dynamite or SmackDown live. Because we were both either getting ready for Thanksgiving or getting back from Thanksgiving. So, this morning I watched both Dynamite. Yes, there's a Christmas tree.
Well, no, I'm
Uh,
saying that's what we were doing when Dynamite, or not Dynamite, when
SmackDown.
SmackDown was on.
And Rampage was also on at 4 o'clock yesterday, and we didn't know.
That was confusing.
Um, so I watched both Dynamite and SmackDown at the same time this morning. Took notes for both at the same time. So my notes might be a little bit all over the place, but I think they're actually better than they normally are because I had to pay extra attention to them. But we're also going to make some predictions for Survivor Series, since that will be happening later today, and we'll be doing our live watch along. And we will be recapping our predictions for New Japan's historic crossover with Stardom, which was a tie. We tied, and tie goes to the defender. You know, it's like that champion's advantage kind of thing. So I am still your Pinfall Podcast prediction champion. And that might all change tonight after Survivor Series. We're also going to play a fun little game later, which is going to be you trying to guess one member from every Survivor Series team. Or every winning Survivor Series team. It'll probably be easier than you think. So let's talk about some news. First up, this was kind of on the cusp of last week's recap, but Konosuke Takeshita is now All Elite officially. I think this came in literally right after the podcast, if not during. Tony Khan tweeted after the Rampage match, like the day after, or like before Full Gear, that Takeshita is now All Elite, which is awesome because he definitely deserves it. Also, Becky Lynch in the event of Thanksgiving, she apparently provided a whole Thanksgiving meal for a sick child, his mother, and the floor team of the hospital. And the source came out from the mother's Instagram, thanking Becky Lynch for that nice little gift. That's very sweet of her.
Yeah, it's insane.
A little uplifting news. Kind of in the opposite swing of that, Baron Corbin took to who was this in an interview with? Oh yeah, in Corey Graves' podcast After the Bell, he talked about Braun Strowman's comments about high flyers and fired some shots. He basically said that if you can't stick by your words and you're gonna tweet stuff like that, then you're making a mistake. Because Corbin will often tweet stuff like that too and say stuff like that in interviews, but he's very much sticking to his character, sticking to kayfabe. Corbin's somebody that still believes in kayfabe, and thinks that if Braun's gonna talk like that, then he should be doing so as his character and stick by it. In other news, after Full Gear, when we saw Carry On Wayward Son be used for the Elite, it was news broke that it will be used regularly and not just a one-off for Full Gear. Brian Alvarez made some notes about what news pertaining to this. It won't be used for all matches, but it is not a one-shot deal.
Wow.
I don't know if they used it on this week's Dynamite because I was watching both at the same time. I couldn't hear Dynamite very well because SmackDown is very loud. But that's really good to hear that it's not just a one-off. And finally, we won't be doing an official recap of historic crossover, so I'm throwing this in here. The Kenny Omega challenged Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom for the United States Championship, which is huge. It's been a storyline they've been trying to get going for a little while now on Twitter. Kenny Omega had a video promo play during the event after Ospreay beat Shota Umino. And that legendary match will be happening at Wrestle Kingdom. No idea whether it's going to be day 1 or day 2 or day 3 or day 4. Who knows how many days it'll be at this point? It could
Wrestle
be a whole
Kingdom
week.
month.
Yeah. But that's gonna be match of the year in the first month, maybe first week of January. And that's all the news I got. Ready to talk about some? Well, I guess we should do our predictions recap before we get into the recap of the week. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go through all of the predictions just because there's a lot of multi-mans. But essentially the ones that we differed on were only 2. It was Chaos and Lio Rush versus House of Torture. I won with Chaos, you lost with House of Torture. And then Mayu Iwatani versus Kairi for the IWGP Women's Championship. I picked Mayu Iwatani, you picked Kairi, and you walked away with that one. So that resulted in a tie. And we'll see how all that changes tonight after Survivor Series. All right, now let's talk about some Raw. We started off Raw with Judgment Day versus Brawling Brutes. Brawling Brutes apparently made their entrance through the crowd. We kind of tuned in a little late once this match had already like the bell had just rang, but Brawling Brutes entered through the crowd and then were challenged by Judgment Day. And Brawling Brutes pick up the win with a brogue kick from Shamu after the OC comes out for a little distraction. We had an interview with Johnny Gargano backstage. We then led to Johnny Gargano versus Omos because Miz came out and was like, I'm not having a match, but this guy is. And I thought he was going to bring out Ciampa, which would have been a lot more fun, but it was Omos. We then had Seth Rollins in an interview, and Austin Theory gave his response to that, where he challenged Seth at Survivor Series, and that match is going to be a triple threat: Seth, Bobby, and Theory for the United States Championship. Then we had Mustafa Ali versus Austin Theory, where Theory won via an A-Town down. I feel like a lot of this, because Mustafa's kind of been on the losing end of a lot, but he's also like had prominent story. Like he's been featured a lot. I wonder if this is going to result in him getting a manager, getting some kind of character shift. Because with a lot of characters who go on downward trends, a lot of them get a manager and they start doing really well.
I just wonder who that would be.
Or maybe he joins a tag team. Maybe with Ricochet or Cedric or Shelton.
Well, we saw how. Wasn't it? Wasn't it Cedric, Ricochet, and Mustafa that were all like in like a little
It
trio for a
was
little while?
it was Mustafa, Cedric, Ricochet, and Apollo, but Apollo's on NXT now.
Oh yeah.
And then Mustafa turned on all of them. Or Cedric first, and then Mustafa. And
Yeah,
then
Cedric
Apollo.
turned on them, and then we got the reveal of.
Retribution.
Thank you. How did I forget what that was?
I mean, they're very forgettable, so. But maybe we could get a whole faction with all of them because we know they're all friends. So
I'm sure
that'd be
they
pretty
would
cool.
not like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we had Alpha Academy versus Elias and Matt Riddle. And Elias and Matt Riddle win with a floating bro. We then get Baron Corbin and JBL playing poker once again. Drew McIntyre walks in. There's a whole kerfuffle. And then we get Baron Corbin versus McIntyre. McIntyre wins with a Claymore kick.
Drew McIntyre, the defender of Albany, because they were slandering Albany.
Yeah, that was JBL and Corbin's story in that episode. Just slandering the location. Which they were right. They were right to slander Albany. In the moment, when you were watching, you're like, yeah, they're right.
I would never say that.
And then lastly, the main event, we had Asuka versus Rhea Ripley in a War Games Advantage match. And Rhea Ripley wins with a Riptide. Let me ask you, does this Survivor Series feel like a Big Four? There's not that many matches.
I guess not tremendously, but also they're doing such a different thing with it that I would like to see it.
Like, if this wasn't War Games, do you think it would be as big?
I don't know. It definitely doesn't feel like a Big Four. But it doesn't feel like like it doesn't feel like a one of the smaller ones either.
Like, compare this
sort of
to Clash of the Castle. The Clash of the Castle felt bigger.
Clash of the Castle did feel bigger, but I think that's because they did so much hype for it because it was them going to a different country.
What was the last pay-per-view? Crown Jewel. I guess you can't really compare Crown Jewel because that always feels like a Big Four since it's got a lot of Saudi money. What was the one before Crown Jewel? Was it Extreme Rules?
Maybe.
It might have been Extreme Rules. I can't. I guess this does feel bigger than Extreme Rules because I don't remember anything that happened at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, wasn't Extreme Rules when Dakota and Io came back? No, it was SummerSlam.
Yeah. Extreme Rules was Liv versus Ronda, I believe, in an Extreme Rules match. I can't remember if Roman defended the title. Wait, Extreme Rules 2022. Yeah, October 8th. Um, Riddle versus Seth, fight pit. Finn versus Edge, I quit. Bianca versus Bailey, ladder match. Karrion versus Drew, strat match. Ronda versus Liv, Extreme Rules. Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. I guess this does feel bigger than Extreme Rules, so, but not quite like a Royal Rumble or SummerSlam. How many matches are there right now? Announced. There's only 5 matches. That's insane.
Yeah, but I like that more because it makes them feel more special.
It'll definitely make the War Games matches feel more special, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so moving on from Raw though, uh, I managed to catch Tag League, New Japan's Tag League on the 22nd, which I think was Tuesday. Um, it was kind of a big episode. Had some upsets. The opening match was Yuto Nakashima versus Ryohei Oiwa. Oiwa picked up the win with a single leg Boston Crab. Kosei Fujita and Oscar Loiba versus Tomoaki Hanma and Togi Makabe. Makabe and Hanma won with a flying knee. And we then had Shingo, Hiromu, and Bushi versus Taichi, Despe, and Doki. And that was a double countout finish, and the whole brawl broke out. And then we got to the tag league matches. Alex Coughlin and Gabriel Kidd versus TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste. TMDK won with a Thunder Valley. We then had Suzuki and Lance Archer versus Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. Suzuki and Archer won via blackout from Lance. And we had another event announced, Fantastica Mania 2023, which is a cross between New Japan and CMLL. So they're really getting in their cross promotional stuff.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be a whole. It looks like a whole tournament league kind of thing. I'm not really sure. The announcement wasn't in English, so it was hard to figure out what it was. But a cross between New Japan and CMLL sounds really cool. Then we went back to the tournament. Evil and Yujiro Takahashi were up against Bishamon, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto, and Bishamon won via Shoto. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toriano versus Aussie Open was next, and Aussie Open had a little bit of an upset, winning with Coriolis, beating Tanahashi. Because I think Tanahashi and Toriano were past Tag League winners.
Um, I think you're right.
I think they had a comment about that on commentary.
That wouldn't shock me. All things considered.
Tanahashi. No, not versus, not versus. I don't know, but it was a big upset either way. And then the main event, Sonata and Tetsuya Naito versus Great Okan and Aaron Hinare. Sonata and Naito won with Destino. And let me try and pull up the current standings. No, not night one. Oh, wait, updated standings. There we go. So, leading the Super Junior Tag League is Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Total of 6 points. They're 3-0. Losing is Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Doki, who are 0-3, and Sho and Dick Togo, who are 0-3. And the World Tag League leading are 3 teams: Naito and Sonata, 2-0, Aussie Open, who are 2-0, and Lance Archer and Suzuki, who are 2-0. And losing are Evil and Yujiro Takahashi, Toriano and Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Gabriel Kidd and Alex Coughlin, who are all 0-2. Um, and a little thing to note, apparently, Ace Austin and Chris Bay were attacked by House of Torture after their match.
Oh,
And this is the first time House of Torture has outright attacked members of Bullet Club. So I wonder if this is going to result in some Bullet Club House of Torture war, which is something I've been wanting for so long.
I I guess like I wanted to get into this tag league really badly, but I'm so disappointed with it.
Are you?
Like
I
it's missing like important tag teams.
Yeah, you don't have Dangerous Techers, you don't have FTR. Those are probably the two biggest ones missing from it.
Yeah.
But I kind of understand why FTR is not in it because they're AEW. They don't AEW probably doesn't want them to miss all these dates that they would be on this excursion. But still, they're the champions. They should be in it. Um,
And Dangerous Techers too.
yeah, definitely.
It doesn't make sense that they didn't include them.
Yeah. Um, However, I think this will be a really fun tag league because Aussie Open is doing so well so far. And this is an incredible year for them so far. So, um, maybe they'll go on to win it. Who knows? That'd be awesome.
Maybe.
So let's talk about some NXT. We started off with a promo from Toxic Attraction, which ended up in Katana, Chance, and Kaden Carter coming out. Uh, that'll probably result in a title match soon, if it hasn't already. We then had Cora Jade versus Wendy Chu. Cora Jade won with a double underhook DDT. Then a Duke Hudson and Grayson Waller promo where Grayson was like, "Dude, you're a heel. Why are you doing this? Cut the crap. Quit putting on a show, etc., etc." But Duke was like, "No, this is who I am. I'm learning from the best." We then had an Apollo Crews promo, and then an interview with Kiana James where Javier Bernal walks in for some reason. We had a Chase U promo, and then Ivy Nile versus Kiana James where Ivy Nile picked up the win with a Dragon Sleeper. We then had a Chase and Andre Chase and Duke Hudson promo where Duke said to make up for his mistake last time, he got them a tag team title match against Pretty Deadly. And then we got the in-ring debut of Scripts. I don't know if you remember that. The
I do.
incredible debut.
I do
But
remember.
after these pranks, these prank phone calls and the prank graffiti, Scripts reveals himself as a man in what kind of looked like Cirque du Soleil gear, like a kind of fantastical mask, blue and orange kind of stuff. Definitely very much the opposite of the lead up, the kind of vibe we were getting. And
Yeah.
it was Reggie. It's fucking
Yeah.
Reggie. Um, they definitely could have given him better gear, or at least gear that matched his foreshadowing, his segments. But he was up against Guru Raj in his debut, and he won with just a seated senton. That was it.
Which is so stupid considering that he's like so talented.
Yeah. I wonder if there's like an issue with his strikes. Maybe he's just better off doing like sentons and then cartwheels and stuff.
I don't know. But it was so fucking goofy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was
Shawn
very
Michaels needs
goofy.
to get his head checked.
We then had an in-ring promo from Schism, uh, which Schism have been getting better every week, I feel like, ever since Ava Rain joined. Just because now they feel more cohesive.
She does have an element that like they didn't have at first, for sure.
Hmm. And the change in gear, like these new yellow masks, Joe Gacy getting his indie gear back. I think it makes them feel less like clowns. Now they're more like culty.
I don't like that she's got the red contacts though.
You don't like that?
No, it's kind of like, well, you're that gives me like vampire vibes, I think, and it's
Hmm.
like that's not what we're going for, as
I
far as I
guess.
know.
Well, I guess it kind of fits because Gibson and Drake both have different lenses. Like one of them has a black contact, the other one has a white contact, and I guess Ava Rain would have red ones.
I just think it's kind of like it kind of detracts from the message.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a weird mix. I don't know why they do the contacts because it doesn't feel like a mystical, magical kind of group.
If they had like gone like full send on the culty thing
Yeah.
and just had them been like weird fuckers,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have benefited them. Like I do like where they are right now, but I just think that it would have been better if they just went full cult.
Yeah. I think if we're talking like NXT stories, Joe Gacy has had the rockiest career in NXT so far. He started with the liberal like woke shit.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
That was so
So
bad.
bad.
And now he's like a cult leader. Like he's found his footing story wise, but that was such a bad start.
It was, but it is really incredible how he landed.
Yeah, and how creative landed with him.
Yeah.
Um, I'm glad they got rid of like the waiter outfit for him. You know, wear actual gear.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But in this promo, they power bombed the fan through the table as like their Thanksgiving kind of thing. We then had an interview with Trick Williams, and Wesley walks in and he's like, "Well, if Carmelo's so good, he won't need you in his match later." And Trick is like, "No, you can't do that." Um, then we get Zoe Stark versus Ruka. Zoe Stark wins handily. Then we had Andre Chase versus Duke Hudson versus Pretty Deadly, and Pretty Deadly wins spilled milk, and Duke Hudson accidentally hit Andre Chase, and after the match, Chase gave Duke a very nasty look from behind. So I wonder if there's going to be a turn here, and Chase, instead of Duke turning on Chase, Chase turns on Duke.
That would suck. I really don't want them to ruffle with the Duke, the Chase U gimmick.
Yeah, I guess we have to have their relationship get to the lowest point possible, and then Duke does something to really make up for it, and um, that relationship just gets so much better. You get a bigger pop from the crowd, have that climax. I don't know. I'm wondering what they could do with that. But we then have the main event: Carmelo Hayes versus Wes Lee for the North American Championship, and Wesley wins via Michinoku Driver. And to round out the night, we have the return of Dijak. Dijak looks fucking badass.
He does, but his return was kind of dumb.
Yeah, he tried to do a GTH. It wasn't a GTS because he did like the flip over thing into the knee and didn't quite connect. But he looks so cool, and his whole thing is judgment. Um, so this is gonna be so awesome. Dijak is an amazing wrestler, and so yeah, it looks like he's going after Wesley first, which could be interesting.
I'm excited to see him back. I missed him.
When
I
did
wonder
we
what his walkout's
lost?
gonna be though.
Oh yeah, his walkout. I feel like it's not going to be good since it's NXT and there haven't been many good walkouts lately.
Sure.
When was the last time we saw Dijak? I'm talking Dijak, not T-Bar.
Uh,
It's Karrion Cross, right?
yeah.
Kind of got laid out by Karrion. When it was back when Keith Lee was in NXT. Damn, that was a
Wasn't it
long time
after
ago.
Carrion like choked him out
Yeah, yeah.
and like choked him out to the point where they were like his face was like turning blue and everyone was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a good storyline. That was so good. That was like the peak of NXT Carrion, and then all
That
went
was.
downhill.
Yeah. Then Adam Cole like fucking buried him.
Both Cole and Gargano.
They kind of tag teamed him on that one and it was funny as fuck.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like that long ago, but that was like Adam Cole was in NXT. Fucking Regal was still in NXT. Samoa Joe was still in NXT.
Yeah.
And Samoa Joe might have even been a commentator at that point still. Because that might have been before WrestleMania.
Uh yeah, I think it was.
Man, that feels like just a month ago or something. Like less than a year ago.
It feels both recent and also to me it feels like it was last century.
Yeah. But after that, we had a Dynamite. We started off with a promo from William Regal addressing his actions at Full Gear. John Moxley comes out and he's pissed off, and Danielson gets in between them, stops Mox, but then he slaps Mox, but like he slaps him, realizes he did something wrong, and then begs for his life. Um, Mox then gets in Regal's face, tells him to run far away, and never show his face again. So I wonder, we'll see Regal again. Or maybe he'll come out just with MJF now. We then an interview with Keith Lee. Swerve walks in, and this was kind of awkward. He walks in, confronts Keith, puts a hand to the camera, but you can still, like, his hand's not entirely closed. You can see Keith's face still. And they're talking. But it's just so awkward that you could still see Keith's face.
That's weird.
Then we had Orange Cassidy versus Jake Hager for the All-Atlantic title. This was shockingly fun. Because Jake Hager's hat gimmick is hilarious. He's obsessed with his hat. And he wrestled with the hat on. And at one point, Orange tried to steal the hat, and Jake Hager freaks out. He's like, "Don't touch my hat."
He's taking notes from Kip Sabian with the box.
I guess so. But Orange Cassidy wins with a Cazador roll through. And after the match, QT Marshall comes out, confronts Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, but then the lights go out and House of Black returns. They lay out everyone, including security. So I wonder if this is a faction versus faction thing, or if it's like Malachi wanting the All-Atlantic belt. Who knows? But either way, anything with House of Black will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad they're back.
Speaking of a lot of fun, we had Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks in the finals for the tournament. Ricky Starks wins with a spear. And they kind of showed off the damage with his match against Lance Archer, because Ricky was all bandaged across his chest. But it didn't matter, because Ricky still won. It was an excellent match. Took 3 spears to take down Ethan Page. So then we had an interview with Jade Cargill, talking about the whole Bow Wow situation. Then we had the Elite versus Death Triangle, match 2 out of 7. And I'm already tired of these matches.
That's so stupid.
It's like Tony Khan snorted some more cocaine and was like, "Let's do best of 7." Death Triangle wins with a hammer, of course. But the funny thing was, Matt Jackson pulled out a hammer from his pants, kissed it, and like started tonguing it. But then Penta sneaks up behind with his own hammer, and then wins that way. Um, so kind of two teams using dirty tricks. Um, Pac came into the match with what commentary said was a broken nose because he had like the mask on. Um, they did a bunch of gags at CM Punk. Matt Jackson did a failed buckshot lariat. Kenny Omega bit Pac on the arm, and Kenny gave a GTS to Pac. So, and they were, I think the Young Bucks changed their bio to Chicago. This will be interesting. And even in Chicago, CM Punk was not favored at all. This is interesting. Up next, Renee Paquette had an announcement. She announced that Thunder Rosa relinquished her title, and Jamie Hayter is no longer the interim Women's World Champion. She is now the AEW Women's World Champion, and commentary mentioned this during one of the matches, that because Thunder Rosa relinquished her title, Toni Storm is now, like, her reign will be officially the Women's World Championship reign instead of interim.
I wonder why Thunder Rosa relinquished the title.
Renee said it had to do with her not being able to come back in time. Like, she's still going to be out for a bit.
Hmm.
So then that led to Anna JAS and Ty Mello versus Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker versus Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue in a triple threat tag team match. And Jamie and Britt won via stomp. But Ty looked great. She gave a pump kick to Jamie Hayter. That was gnarly.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. We then had an interview with FTR and Top Flight. And it was announced that it would be FTR versus Top Flight for the Ring of Honor tag titles on Rampage, which FTR walked away with. And Dante Martin apparently got injured in that match. But Anthony Bowens revealed on Twitter that he's fine. No lasting injury, which is, thank God.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Top Flight would be cursed.
That'd be so fucked up.
We then had the Acclaimed in the ring, and speaking of injuries, Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunn are no longer injured. And they're able to scissor again, but they're interrupted by Lethal and Sons. But that led to TNA sucks chants from the crowd.
Damn.
So it looks like Jay Lethal and Sanjay, or Jay Lethal and Satnam, or whatever combination of the three, or might be going for those tag titles. But then they're able to get off a scissor at the end. And then the main event, Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor Championship, and Jericho wins via Lion Tamer. This was brutal. Ishii made Jericho's chest open up. The blood started pouring out just from chops alone. That was insane. Like, he just had trails and trails of blood going down his body. That led to Taz calling Jericho Bloodloss Jones.
Okay.
But that match then ended with Claudio coming out, and he laid out Jericho after the match. And so at Final Battle, they will fight. And if Claudio wins, or if Claudio loses, he has to join JAS. Which I can't really see that happening, although him and Jake Hager used to be a tag team. So maybe?
I don't know. That'd be fucked up. I'd be really upset if that happened, actually.
I would just be concerned because that would be a huge group. Because they got 2.0, Jericho, Garcia, Hager, Guevara, Anna Jay, and Ty Mello already. You had
Yeah.
Claudio. That's 8 members. That is so many.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. But then that means Claudio will be Ring of Honor champion again. Um, which I feel like that would be weird, especially since Jericho has had such a great reign. I don't know.
I
Maybe they
don't
make
know.
it a triple threat. But if they
Maybe.
do, I don't know. I don't know. But then we had SmackDown. We had the women's War Games teams come out. Bianca's team revealed their 5th member, and it is Becky Lynch. They started off the show with this. Um, this led to a whole brawl between the two teams, and it'll be very interesting to see where this match goes now that Becky Lynch is a part of it. Then we had Butch versus Santos Escobar in the World Cup. Santos won via Phantom Driver. And Ridge and Sheamus left the match because they were at ringside. They left the match because there was a brawl backstage between the Bloodline and Drew, and I think KO as well. Then we had a Bray Wyatt promo. He says he's not the one that attacked LA Knight, but Uncle Howdy then appears on the Tron, has like this weird montage, and then we fade out of that. Then we have an LA Knight interview, which ended with the Bray Wyatt or Uncle Howdy logo or Wyatt 6 logo coming up. And I have a feeling LA Knight's just going to be joining that faction as like a mind-controlled member or something.
That'd
Very
be fun.
interesting. Yeah. Then we had Hit Row versus Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders win via Ragnarok. And Sarah Logan has a new name. Her name is Valhalla. And according to Michael Cole, the reason for that name is the gods gave it to her. That's like the kayfabe reason for it.
Oh, not the real reason?
She looked less like Max the Impaler yesterday, but still kind of got that face paint. She just added more like antlers and shit. Definitely would be a cool look if Sarah Logan was not a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that tends to be the problem is Sarah Logan ruins things by being
We,
Sarah Logan.
we then had a social media clip of Dom and Rhea crashing Ray's Thanksgiving. Apparently this clip on social media got 7.5 million views, which is more than Jake Paul showing up at a Crown Jewel. I don't know how, but
Okay.
people love Judgment Day, I guess.
Or they hate Ray.
Maybe. Then we had Ricochet versus Braun Strowman in the World Cup. Imperium came out to distract, and that led to Ricochet winning with a crucifix bomb on Braun, which was awesome. And commentary even threw in mentioning Braun's tweet. they mentioned his words about high flyers, even the whole grocery store bit. Um, so, but I feel like they kind of like this was giving Braun his due because he then gets laid out by Imperium, and then Ricochet comes in to help, and they kind of make up. Ricochet shakes his hand. So I think they're kind of turning that tweet into a kayfabe thing, which is probably the best PR thing you could do.
I guess.
Then we had Sammy and Kevin Owens outside of the Bloodlines locker room. Jay's listening in to what KO's saying. He basically says, like, at any point they could turn on you. You do one wrong thing, they will turn on you. So why don't you turn on them first? And this had repercussions during the tag team match later on. Jay gets mad about it. But then we have an interview with Becky Lynch after her return. Then we go further backstage. Ronda and Shayna attack Shotzi and Raquel. And then we have Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez. And Shayna and Ronda win with an armbar. Ronda had the worst makeup that I've ever seen.
Really?
Worse
Is
than
that possible?
normal. She had like a unibrow. She basically made a blue unibrow. It was bad. So bad.
Okay. Sure.
Then we went to medical. We had an interview with Shotzi outside of medical where Raquel was. And Shotzi's just making her claim for why she is going to destroy Ronda. She's going to give Shayna a front row seat to it, which is probably only going to make things worse. And then we had Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos in a War Games advantage match. Drew and Sheamus won with a brogue kick after Kevin Owens stunned Jay or Jimmy, one of the Usos. And Sammy got yelled at by Jay, and Kevin Owens was just like, see what could happen? So that will all lead to War Games, and apparently, from what I've been told, the team with the advantage loses 90% of the time.
Really?
Yeah. Because normally Undisputed Era gets the advantage. And they lost. And then when they didn't have advantage against Pat McAfee and his faction, they won.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know how it worked with the most recent one. I can't remember. But
I barely remember that War Games.
we forgot to mention recap of Full Gear, but we did a live watch along for that. Super fun. MJF and Jamie Hayter walked out as new champions. And before we get into the predictions, let's talk about what matches were the best this week. I think we can all agree. You and I can both agree. Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm was the best.
That was a banger.
That was fucking awesome. After that, though, I'd probably say the Elite versus Death Triangle match 1 from Full Gear. You agree with that?
I could agree with that.
Then maybe Carmelo Hayes versus Wesley. We both watched that one.
Yeah. I like that match too. I can agree with that.
And then I definitely say the Fatal 4-Way for the Ring of Honor title. That was awesome.
Okay.
And then
even though we didn't have any Sammy crazy moments.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would have been like a 10 out of 10 if we gotten that. And then do you think Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus?
That match was actually pretty intense.
Yeah, it was.
For what I expected.
It's probably the best Luchasaurus we've seen.
Yeah.
All right, so those are our top 5 matches of the week. But definitely Jamie and Tony is one to watch for sure. All right, so let's do some predictions for Survivor Series. And there will not be many to go over. For those who don't know how our predictions work, for every incorrect prediction, we have to do a dab of hot sauce. And whoever has the most correct predictions will be dubbed the Pinfall Podcast Prediction Champion. And yeah. Normally we do a punishment. Do you want to do a punishment again? Even though it's like a live watch along? I don't know when the punishment will
Um,
take place.
yeah. I don't know. It's hard with live watch-alongs.
Yeah. So let's nix the um punishment for now.
Okay.
Might bring him back at some point, but for now. All right. Survivor Series. Let's talk about it. First match, Seth freaking Rollins versus Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship.
Um, God.
Oh, this one is really tough.
I think I'm just gonna go with Seth.
That's a safe one. Um. Oh man. Because like this is a new Austin Theory, so we don't really know how they're gonna book him. Um, but Bobby's been looking super strong, and I mean Seth is Seth. He's incredibly over. The question is whether they want Seth to um go after the world title or the universal title.
I just feel like he hasn't had that belt for long enough yet.
But then there's also a fourth factor we're not thinking about. Mustafa. He's been laid out by both Bobby and Theory.
Mm, that
Maybe
is
it
true.
maybe it goes to Seth. I might be going the way of Seth. Do we want to make a bonus prediction on who's getting pinned?
Um, I'd say Theory.
Okay, I'm saying Bobby gets pinned because I don't think they would want to have Theory get pinned just yet. All right, so next up we have AJ Styles versus Finn Balor in a singles match.
Um,
Who won the 6-man tag? Judgment Day. Judgment Day
yeah,
won it.
Judgment Day.
I'm going with AJ.
I think I'll go with AJ as well, actually.
Especially now that they've got the X Factor and Mia Yim.
Yeah.
All right, next we have Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And I think this is straightforward.
Yeah, I believe it is. Um, well, is it?
I think so. I mean, there is the very slim potential that Shayna could turn on Ronda, but I don't think there's been enough to allude to that recently. Having just watched SmackDown, I don't think there is. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Shotzi could win via DQ.
I'm gonna be bold. Hunter's in charge now. I'm gonna say Shotzi.
Okay, I'll stick with Ronda then. And even with the DQ, that would go to you. Like if Shotzi won via DQ, you'd win that. All right,
Yeah.
so next up we have the Brawling Brutes versus the Bloodline in a War Games match.
I'm gonna go with the Bloodline.
Oh, I'm going Brawling Brutes. I think
All
that's
right.
an easy win for Brawling Brutes.
Sure.
They haven't shown the
Oh,
Bloodline lose at all, so I think Team Brutes picks up the win here, especially with Sammy potentially turning on them. All right. So finally, we have Team Bianca versus Team Bailey, Team Damage Control, in the women's war game match.
This is kind of hard to me. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm gonna go with Bianca's team.
Okay, I'm going with Bailey's team because I think having Becky is like you're gonna really think that Bianca's team's gonna win because of that. So I think they're gonna kind of swerve us a little bit.
Okay.
Did you write down your predictions or do you want me to?
Oh, I thought you were.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So then let me. So for first match, you pick Seth, and Theory gets pinned. Second match, you picked AJ.
Yes. See, I'm already forgetting.
Third match, you picked Shotzi. Men's War Games, you picked the Bloodline. And then Women's War Games, you picked Team Bianca.
See, if this had been an AEW predictions, I would have definitely forgotten because we would have like gone through the first 20 and there'd be 20 more for me to remember.
Absolutely, yeah. And just comparing this in Full Gear, like this is a big four. A big four is like all AEW has, and this is like a third of what AEW gives in their pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so those are our predictions. Tune in later to our live watch along to uh, see how those predictions go. I think it's at 8 p.m. Eastern. Uh, there might be a kickoff. I think they've been doing kickoffs again. So it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we've got those predictions out of the way, let's do our fun little game, shall we?
Sure.
So let's kind of. Do you want to work backwards or do you want to work forwards? Backwards as
Let's
in.
work forwards. I can land on a good note.
Okay. All right. So Survivor Series 1987.
Oh Jesus Christ, we'll be here a while, won't we? Better get comfortable.
I mean, these will probably move pretty fast. Um, Let me see what information I can give you first. So 1987. Um, the main event was the Survivor Series match. The champion. Oh wow, there are a lot of Survivor Series matches. We'll just do the main event one for this.
Okay.
Um, I don't know who the champion was at the time. Um, yeah, I don't know. But who? Name. We'll do name one person from the team. That's a pretty reasonable question. The winning team.
Okay.
Um,
Am I getting any hints or
I guess I could give you the matches prior to the main event. That might be helpful.
sure?
So the first
Maybe not
match
all of them if there's that many.
there were only 4 matches total.
Oh, okay.
So the first match was Brutus Beefcake, Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, Randy Savage, and Ricky Steamboat versus Dangerous, Danny Davis, Harley Race, Hercules, the Honky Tonk Man, and Ron Bass. Then it was Fabulous Moolah, the Jumping Bomb Angels, Rockin' Robin, and Velvet McIntyre versus Dawn Marie, Donna Cristinello, the Glamour Girls, and Sensational Sherry. Oh god, then it was a 10-man Survivor Series match. The 10-man had, I'm not going to name everyone, but it had the British Bulldogs, um, the Young Stallions, the Dream Team, Heart Foundation, Haku and Tama. Yeah. So who was in the main event? Who won the main event?
Shawn Michaels.
No, Shawn Michaels was not a part of this at all. I don't think he was big at this point, if even around. You'll get three choices, three chances.
I don't.
There's a couple easy ones you could guess.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan was on the losing team.
Motherfucker. Um.
Last guess.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if I know any wrestlers. Uh. God bless. Why am I? I'm literally forgetting every wrestler that's ever existed.
You talked
Um.
about one of them yesterday.
I don't remember what I talked about like an hour ago, and it was during this podcast. Um. Who did I talk about yesterday?
Just throw any
Who
name
did I
out
talk
there,
about?
since we've got a
I
bunch to
literally
go through.
I don't know. I can't think of a single wrestler. Um, trying to think of like wrestlers that died that I would remember them dying. Is this person still alive?
Well, it's a whole team of 5. But the person
Well,
you
the
talked
person I was
about,
talking about yesterday.
they're not.
Oh, fuck me. There's a lot of dead wrestlers there.
Do you give up?
Yes.
All right, so the winning team was Andre the Giant, Butch Reed, King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, and Rick Rude.
Literally would not have gotten any of those except for Andre the Giant.
I figured Andre the Giant. Once you guessed Hulk Hogan, I was like, oh, she's gonna get Andre the Giant. All right, so 1988. Um, let's see. Is another one where it was um, all Survivor Series matches, but the main event. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so that was the main event. Wait, which one was the main event? It's kind of main event. Oh, okay. All right. So the main event in this one was a 10-man Survivor Series match. So you got a lot of options here. The other matches were Ultimate Warrior, Brutus Beefcake, Sam Houston, Blue Blazer, and Jim Brunzell versus Honky Tonk Man, Ron Bass, Danny Davis, Greg Valentine, and Bad News Brown. Then it was Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, Dino Bravo, Mr. Perfect, and Harley Race versus Jim Duggan, Jake Roberts, Scott Casey, Ken Patera, and Tito Santana. And lastly, Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Hercules, Coco Beware, and Hillbilly Jim versus the Twin Towers, Ted DiBiase, King Haku, and Red Rooster. So who was in that 10-man match? Who won?
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. No. Owen Hart was not in it.
What about Bret Hart?
Bret Hart was in it. It was the Warlord, the Barbarian, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, Davey Boy Smith, Dynamite Kid, Bret Hart, and Jim Neidhart versus Paul Roma, Jim Powers, Axe and Smash, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, the Bolsheviks, the Fabulous Rougeaus, and the Conquistadors. All right, so you got that one second try. That was much better than the last one.
True.
All right, 1989 is the main event. Is it still all? Yes. Oh boy. Okay, but this is 4-on-4s though. All 4-on-4s. The main event. Okay, that's the main event. Okay. So the other matches, um, Dusty Rhodes, Brutus Beefcake, Red Rooster, and Tito Santana versus Big Boss Man, Bad News Brown, Rick Martel, and Honky Tonk Man. Um, I'll just give you that one. And if you want, you can ask for more.
Um, what are we feeling with like Hulk Hogan on this one? Maybe this time he won.
Hulk Hogan, no. Hulk Hogan was in one of the matches. He teamed with Jake Roberts, Axe and Smash against Ted DiBiase, the Warlord, the Barbarian, and Zeus. That is a fucking amazing tag team.
Um, I need like a list of wrestlers.
So here's what I'll do. Since
Yeah.
these matches are elimination, every guess I will tell you somebody on that team, but you can't guess them.
Okay. Go
So,
on.
after your first guess, one person on that team was the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh. Can I guess the one that isn't Ultimate Warrior but like tag teamed with him?
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing him. I've forgotten his name completely at this point.
I don't remember who tag teamed with the Ultimate Warrior. it's the team name, the 4-man team was called the Ultimate Warriors. That was
Oh
all
yeah.
four of them.
Oh no, I'm
And
wrong.
I don't think any of these people were known to be tag team members or tag teaming with Ultimate Warrior. So give me
Okay.
another guess.
Um, where are we on with maybe Randy Savage? Maybe a man like him.
Randy Savage. He was not on that team. He was in a match teaming with Canadian Earthquake, Dino Bravo, and Greg Valentine against the 4x4s, which was Jim Duggan, Bret Hart, Ronnie Garvin, and Hercules. All right, so another member of the main event team was Jim Neidhart.
Oh, I'm gonna use my last guess to say Owen Hart.
Owen Hart was not on that team.
Fuck
And I
me.
don't think he wrestled. Yeah, he didn't wrestle at all in this pay per view. The winning team was Ultimate Warrior, Jim Neidhart, Shawn Michaels, and Marty Jannetty. All right. Let's see if you'll do better in the next one. All right. So 1990. And I'm not going to go through the matches. Just give me a name and we'll see if you're right.
Um, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. Let me see. Because this is a little weird. Okay, let's say that one's the main event. Shawn Michaels. Um, no. Shawn Michaels was in a match teaming with Jake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, and Marty Jannetty against the Visionaries. Um, the main event was a 5-on-3 match,
Okay.
and one member on that team was Hulk Hogan. So you've got 4 left to pick from.
Um, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair was not on that team. I don't see his name in this pay per view at all. All right. Next one on that list is Ultimate Warrior was on that team.
Of course he was.
So you've got 3 left. Oh, actually, you've got 1 left because the team of 3 won. My mistake. You got 1 left.
Uh, Jim Neidhart.
Jim Neidhart was not in that match. Um, he let's see, did he wrestle at all in this pay per view? It doesn't look like. Oh yeah, he teamed with Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and Bret Hart against the $1 Million Team. So the last remaining wrestler was Tito Santana.
Oh, would not have gotten that.
All right, so what was that? What are you? Oh, 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
All right, 1991. Give me a name. This one
Um,
was 3-on-3.
3 on 3. Okay. Um, I'm going back to the Hulkster because I know that he was a main event boy. So
The Hulkster. You know what? Because well, I'm gonna shift up the rules once again. Because there's so many Survivor Series matches and it doesn't say which one's the main event. Any winning Survivor Series team, I'll let you get. But the Hulkster was not on um, any of the winning teams. He lost to The Undertaker in the first singles match in the Survivor Series. He lost the WWF Championship to The Undertaker.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
one member of a winning Survivor Series team is Ric Flair. So you can no longer guess Ric Flair.
Um,
There's a lot to pick from too because there are 3 4-on-4 matches and 1 3-on-3 match.
okay. Randy Savage.
Randy Savage is not on this card at all, surprisingly.
Actually, better question is when did Randy Savage?
So the next member of a winning Survivor Series team is Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay.
Last guess.
Um, Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. Well, Jimmy Hart's there. Bret Hart was not on this card. Oh, yes, he was, but he was on the losing team, teaming with Roddy Piper, Virgil, and the British Bulldog. So all the options you could have guessed: Ric Flair, the Mountie, Ted DiBiase, the Warlord, Sergeant Slaughter, Jim Duggan, the Texas Tornado, Tito Santana, Brian Knobbs, Jerry Sags, Bo and Blake, Big Boss Man, and the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. So that one was a little tougher.
It was.
All right. Okay, so this one only has one. This is when they started only doing one Survivor Series match. So,
Okay.
4-on-4. The main event of this was Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship.
Okay. Um,
I would make
maybe.
these guesses quick because I don't think you're going to get anyone on this team.
Okay. Then I'll go with what I know best. So we're gonna start with Hulk.
No. Hulk was
Ric
not
Flair.
on this card. Ric Flair was on this card, but he was in a tag team match with Razor Ramon against Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, he was in that main event match against Bret Hart.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, so the winning team was Earthquake and Typhoon, Jerry Sags, and Brian Knobbs. That's why I didn't think you would get any of them. All right, so this one, 1993. Okay, so there are 4 Survivor Series matches here, so you've got a lot to pick from. So give me a name.
Um, you know what? Because it was brought to my mind, Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon. Yes, he was on a team with the 1-2-3 Kid, Marty Jannetty, and Randy Savage. They defeated Adam Bomb, Diesel, Erwin R. Shyster, and Rick Martel. So there
Funny
you
enough,
go.
Diesel was going to be my next guess, so
So your second win, and maybe this is when you uh, pick it
maybe I'm
up.
turning it around.
Yeah. All right. So this one has 3 matches, 2 5-on-5 and 1 4-on-4. The main event was The Undertaker versus Yokozuna in a casket match with Chuck Norris as special outside enforcer. This one got fucking crazy.
Okay. Rick Rude.
Rick Rude. Let's see. Um, Rick Rude was not on any of the teams. Um, one of the team members was 1-2-3 Kid.
Okay. Um, at some point, Shawn Michaels has to be one of the answers.
Shawn Michaels was on one of the teams, but he was on a losing team. He lost alongside Diesel, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Neidhart, and Owen Hart. So one person they fought against was British Bulldog. So you can no longer guess British Bulldog.
Um, well, it helped me last time. Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon was on that team. He was on a winning team with 1-2-3 Kid, British Bulldog, Fatu, and Sione? The Barbarian. That's what he used to be called. All right. So you got that one. 2 in a row. 1995. Let's stop at the end of the 90s because it'll take a while to get all the way to today.
That might take a little while.
All right. So maybe next year's Survivor Series we can continue into the 2000s. So the main event of this one was Bret Hart versus Diesel in a no DQ match for the WWF Championship, and there are 4 4-on-4 Survivor Series matches here. And one of them is a women's match.
Oh my. Um, Macho Man.
Macho Man Randy Savage. Was he on one of these teams? It doesn't. No, he was not.
Um, well, you said there were women.
Yes.
Um,
Oh wait, I didn't give you your free one.
oh yeah.
Um. So one of the people on one of these teams was the Undertaker.
Okay. Um,
Any guesses?
I'm trying to think. Well, I'll just go with Ric Flair. Trying to
Ric
think of women.
Flair was not on any of these teams.
Okay. Jim Neidhart. Bring it
Jim.
home.
Oh wait. Before you officially guess that, your next removed choice is Shawn Michaels.
Motherfucker.
So, are you still saying Jim Neidhart?
Actually, I'll say Diesel.
Diesel. He was not in it because he was in the main event against Bret Hart in the no
Motherfucker.
disqualification match.
Why does my brain not remember things?
So you could have guessed uh, Skip. I don't know. Skip Radford, Dr. Tom Pritchard, the 123 Kid. Oh, the 123 Kid is X Pac. Bertha Faye, Aja Kong, Tomoko Watanabe, and the Lioness Asuka. Um, Savio Vega, Fatu, Henry O. Godwin, and The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels, Ahmed Johnson, the British Bulldog, and Psycho Sid. And that was 1995. We're getting down to the wire here. 1996, the year we were born. Um,
Um,
so this one, the main event, was Psycho Sid versus Shawn Michaels in a singles match for the WWF Championship. And there were four 4-on-4 matches.
all right.
No women this time.
Okay, so let's go with Diesel.
Diesel was on one of the teams, but it was a no contest, so that doesn't count.
Bullshit.
He teamed with Farouk, Razor Ramon, and Vader against Flash Funk, Jimmy Snuka, Savio Vega, and Yokozuna.
Okay. Um, let's get X Pac in there. I know it's 123 Kid, but
123 Kid. I'm trying to see if he went by another name at this point. Does not look like it. No, he was not on it. So, one. I'll give you two eliminated because I didn't do it for the last one. One person you can no longer guess is Jake Roberts, and another one is Bob Holly.
okay, then I'm going with Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase was not on any of these teams. So that was all three guesses, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, 1997, last few. The main event was Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. I think this was the Montreal Screwjob. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there were four Survivor Series matches, four 4-on-4s. All of them had finishes.
Um,
So think of the Montreal Screwjob.
I'm thinking.
Hmm?
So I'm thinking. Um, was Jim Neidhart involved
Jim
in
Neidhart.
that?
Jim Neidhart was on Team Canada, winning against Team USA. He teamed with British Bulldog, Doug Furnas, and Phil Lafone against Vader, Goldust, Mark Miro, and Steve Blackman. So there you go. Another win for you. Maybe you can
I'm
tie
very
it
good at
up.
it.
All right, and in 1998, the main event was Mankind versus The Rock for the vacant WWF Championship. And
Okay.
there was no Survivor Series match in this one, so we're not gonna count this one.
What the fuck?
Unless maybe I missed something. Results, yeah, no, there wasn't. It was a tournament instead. So 1999, the last one, the main event was Big Show versus Triple H and The Rock in a triple threat for the WWF Championship. And there were three 4-on-4 matches and one 1-on-4 match. and
Okay.
all of them had finishes.
And this is my last one, right?
Yes, this is the last one.
So then I'm gonna bring it home with the man who got me here, Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon. Um. duh, duh, duh. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Don't see him anywhere. No, he was not here.
Oh,
Yeah, he is not. Yeah, he is not on any of. I don't think he's on the card at all, actually. All right, so one of the people in one of these Survivor Series matches was D'Lo Brown.
oh God.
Two more guesses.
Um, were there women?
There were no women's matches. There was an 8-woman tag match, but it was not a Survivor Series elimination match.
Okay. Um, was Steve Austin around at this point?
Steve Austin. Let's see. I think he was around, but he was not in any of these matches.
Ah,
So your second elimination is Billy Gunn. Oh wait, no, never mind. He was in a different match. Um, Scotty Too Hottie. That is your second elimination.
okay. Um,
Last guess.
okay. If we're in this time era
Mm-hmm.
and Stone Cold was around,
Yes.
was Mr. Trips around?
I already said he was in the main event against Big
You
Show and The
did.
Rock. I'm. I'll let you get a pass on that one.
Um, okay. Uh, oh wait. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use a little bit of magic here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if Billy Gunn was around,
Mm-hmm.
then that means that New Age Outlaws may have been around.
Remember, Billy Gunn was not in a Survivor Series match. He was in a tag team championship match.
Oh,
Your two eliminations so far were D'Lo Brown and Scotty Too Hottie.
oh yeah, okay. Um, then I'm just gonna go. Oh no. See, I keep forgetting the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. Gonna throw a name out there,
Okay.
and it's only because I've just been reminded of him recently because of not because of Billy Gunn, but in the same show. Was Jeffrey Jarrett around?
Jeff Jarrett was. Let's see. I think I saw his name earlier. He
I was very creative on this one, at least, so that I'm going with that much for myself.
he was not on this card.
Fuck this.
The winning teams were D'Lo Brown, The Godfather, Mosh and Thrasher, um, Gangrel, Mark Henry, Steve Blackman, and Val Venus. In the 1-on-4, the one came out on top with and was Big Show, even though he was in the main event. And then the last team was Crash Holly and Hardcore Holly, Grandmaster Sexay, and Scotty Too Hottie.
Whatever.
So came out 4-7. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Maybe you'll do better in the 2000s.
Yeah.
But that was our fun little game. Make sure to tune in, everybody, later for our live watch along of Survivor Series. Liz, would you like to close out the show?
Sure. If you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. And if you tune in the future, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Check out Spotify. We've got new episodes up on there. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you tonight.
Yes, we do. So, well, are we going to start at the kickoff? 7?
Yeah, I figured.
Okay. So 7 p.m. we'll be going live. Let me just make sure it's not like a 7:30 kickoff. So start time 7:30. So 7:30 we will be going live. All right. So thank you all so much for watching. Follow and subscribe. Join us at twitch.tv/The Pinfall Podcast for our live watch along later. Our Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Twitch is all Pinfall Podcast. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23, and we'll see you later for Survivor Series. And join us Tuesday for our 2K22 live stream. We kind of skipped through this week because it was a very busy week for both of us. So we'll be getting back into gear very soon. All right. Thank you all so much for watching once again. We'll see you later. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.